do I decided to do a commentary on this particular footage here. Um, right here, I want you to take a look at this amazing piece of footage. Now, in my career of looking at this type of footage in the last 20 years, I have never seen footage of an alien that I deemed real or even suspected might be real. But this I deem absolutely real. I mean, look at the way the eye blinks. I mean, look at this close-up footage. Look at the facial structure and the movement. It doesn't just stretch like skin. It also moves in a fluent motion, unlike CGI. And what you have to understand about that is the only way to duplicate this kind of fluent motion in CGI is to put the you've probably seen an example of someone in the studio in a black suit with these uh, little dots on their knuckles, and you'd have to have the dots on the eyelids of something blinking like this to track this movement. Otherwise, it would be completely robotic like movement because you would have programmed it. This is completely, every bit of it is fluent motion, and that tells me what we're looking at is footage. I mean, I can absolutely tell you what we're looking at here is not CGI. I mean, you look across the forehead, there's way too much three-dimensional characteristics here. Of we're actually looking at footage film of a three-dimensional, I mean, character. There's just no way around what we're looking at here. And on top of that, to think that this is some kind of magnificent suit or anatomic doll is absolutely unbelievable. Look here, we got the hands. Like, look at, they move. I mean, look how long the thumb is. And again, this is footage. You can see the texture of the wall behind. You can see the three dimensions. I mean, everything. I mean, look at the shadowing. Look at the shadowing. That, I mean, that's another thing. It's just every single shadow and line and lighting is just perfect. There's just, I have not seen CGI to this day that doesn't have to uh, hide the camera. And you know what I mean? Even look at today's most modern fake uh, alien videos on YouTube. And you'll see that when they use CGI to fake an alien, they only turn the camera at it for a couple seconds at best so that you can't sit here and analyze it. Right here we have a fully frontal view, no attempt to try to hide or disguise anything. The only attempt that I can find to try to disguise anything is the black and white seems to be a program. It seems that they took the color away and made it black and white. Maybe to disguise, maybe they didn't want us to know when. Obviously, it's somebody controlling and leaking this kind of information. See the stain on the wall in the background? I mean, come on. And look at the three dimensions here around the head. This is fully frontal, three-dimensional. Look at the face. This thing is magnificent. The skin, the focus, that's the biggest thing that lets you know this isn't CGI. If I wanted to pull off a fake alien in CGI like this, I would blur it, motion blur it, so that you can't see that it's not CGI, because right here we can clearly see this is real. This is real. Now, of course, somebody who doesn't know anything about CGI would say, oh, that can be CGI. It's not. No, it can't be CGI. You can't take a frame from Avatar and make it black and white and make it look like it's real footage. You know? The movements aren't right. It doesn't work that way. You know, you can watch Avatar black and white all day long and you're still going to be able to pick out what's real and what's phony. You know, CGI has not gotten to the point where it will fool someone into thinking that something is completely realistic. If it had, our video games would be almost total virtual reality. And they're not. You know, I play the best video games sometimes, and you know, they're great, but there's still that digital look. You can still kind of see cartoony look to even the best attempt at, even when they copy a real image of someone and make it digital, it still doesn't look like, a real image of someone. And making it black and white and blurring it isn't going to do that. Um, that's evident by the other video of the blurry alien supposedly caught in Brazil. That didn't fool anyone. That was ridiculous. But the thing is, I'm going to say that this is real. And I'm a fan of the show Face Off. Anyone familiar with Face Off knows that those guys are really elite costume anatomic, builders, and they do this kind of stuff. But if you look, there's no stretchy eyelid blinking. Holy shit! Come on, people, look at this thing. I want you to take a look at something over here, by the neck, right under where you think his ear would be. There's this little shape there. Almost would look like maybe your vein or the tendon. I want you to pay special close attention to just that general area as he turns his head and flexes, and I want you to look at how the skin and the shadowing stretches and moves slightly. To do this in CGI, this would be the most magnificent piece of CGI known to man right now, because this piece of CGI would be the first um, in history to actually be so realistic that it could fool somebody into thinking that this is real. If this is CGI, I'm fooled, and this would be the first time that I would be glad to have a video game made out of this, because I could feel like I was in the game, and I would wonder why make it black and white, because they could put color. I probably will end up putting color into this thing, just to show you that color wouldn't, there'd be no reason to make it black and white. But I want you to pay attention to areas like this as this thing moves. Look at, if you look close enough at the right things, you will realize you are actually looking at a three-dimensional object, not a two-dimensional object trying to fool you into three-dimensional, how do you say it? It's an illusion. When you draw a three-dimensional box on, say, a chalkboard, it's not really three-dimensional, it's flat. You just draw it that way. And that's pretty similar to making 3D, image on a computer. Um, it's not really a 3D image, there's no real skin stretching over. So, uh, in order for that to happen, you'd have to do programming for each and every individual area where the shadowing has skin stretching over, and that's what I'm saying. You look at areas like this, how the skin, how the shadowing moves across it, all those little details, and that's why I've zoomed in on some of this so that we can have some details here and look at some of these points that I'm bringing up about this footage. And basically, there is no debate. There is no debate. This is footage. So, if you want to debate this, you're going to have to try to claim that this is some kind of mask, and you're going to have to come up with, well, so and so made a mask that does this or does that. You're going to have to explain why every attempt to make a fake alien video does not hold a candle to this right here. This is what I believe part of the soft disclosure that's been taking place in the last 3-4 years. This came out in 2011, I believe, right before 2012, and I could be wrong. I think this could have come out in 2012, 2011, 12, and I'll tell you what, somebody covered up some things, like they made it black and white. That flash is timed so you can tell it's software made to duplicate black and white. So they wanted you to think that this footage was older than it really is. It could be somebody who leaked it trying to hide their tracks. There could be a variety of reasons they would make it black and white to cover the age of it. But that's the thing, is at least we know making it black and white is possibly to cover the age. And it would, if it weren't for that one little slip of color in it. So I think we're seeing the first footage of an alien, and it makes sense to me because we have the skeletons anyway. The bottom line is, you know, these people that won't believe this simply because of the subject matter are being very narrow-minded to the fact that we have bodies of these beings with DNA that says they are non-terrestrial, not linked to any primate. However, their mitochondrial DNA was human. Obviously, meaning they abducted females 900 years ago and impregnated it with their own kind. Uh, we're doing that today. The bottom line is it proves two things happened 900 years ago. One, there was genetic manipulation going on 900 years ago. And two, there were grays about 4 feet tall with big heads and big eyes abducting human females to offspring there to carry their offspring. That, that was reported in the last century. Thousands and thousands of people reported that very thing. And sure enough, we find skeletons. Now, we have this footage that looks real, and everybody's trying to say, well, it can't possibly be real. Why not? Obviously, these things have been flying around. Now, obviously, Roswell, they did crash and people saw them. So, obviously, there is footage of these things. This particular footage, I think, is quite amazing. And I think what's going on in this picture is you're seeing the alien sitting at a table solving, a jigsaw puzzle. Like they would do a monkey. You sit a monkey down and hand it a box with a clover and a triangle-shaped block, and they put it in the hole. He moves it. He looks down at the table. He moves his arms. He looks up. He looks back down. He looks up, and then he smiles. It looks to me like he's solving a puzzle really quick, and then he's looking back up at the people and smiling. And then the next shot is even more amazing, a fully frontal profile. This is obviously like a mug shot, except using footage. This is exactly what I would expect military to take as far as documentation of what a being looks like. This is incredible footage. This is not a hoax. This is a very serious piece of disclosure, and I think ufology needs to take this very seriously. And people need to quit saying that this is CGI without the credentials to say that that is CGI. Unless you can make this, then don't say it's CGI, and I can't make it. Now, I'll tell you, maybe Avatar, is beautiful and everything, but you're not going to be able to put black and white on Avatar and make me think that one piece of that is real. If you can, good luck. I have never once thought any CGI UFO or CGI alien was real. Ever. Never. Before I deem like even a UFO photo real, it's got to have validated reports on MUFON, the reporting centers of eyewitnesses. The kind of research that I do, I'm going down to the volcano in Mexico that frequents UFOs on their government cameras to see if there's eyewitnesses to support these footage sightings. So I don't just believe in stuff. I like to know things, and I have enough experience in CGI to know that this footage is not CGI at all. The blinks aren't CGI. The muscle tone and the skin stretching over that muscle is not CGI. This is real footage, and I can kind of tell what's going on. Of course, they have the alien sat down at a desk. He solves a puzzle, looks up like a smartass, and smiles at the guys. And the other, they're just showing the fully frontal. Obviously, the alien submitted to fully frontal documentary footage so they can disclose this to people. Not people like you and I, but probably people in charge of shit. Anyway, this needs to be real popular, and people need to start seeing this for what it is. And other people that don't have the right credentials need to stop commenting that this is CGI. And other people who aren't fans of the show Face Off, that don't know shit about, the best Hollywood mask making, need to quit saying this could be anatomics, because, look at what they can do today. They can't do this shit. Sorry.